Cargo pilot Marcus Chin crash lands on a restricted planet and clashes with guard Lyra, until she notices his strangely familiar eyes. Taken to a hidden AI facility, they learn their parents were scientists who embedded genetic recognition and knowledge into their children's DNA. Marcus's crash was no accident. The beacon pulled him there. When scavengers attack, Marcus and Lyra trigger a dangerous consciousness link, merging skills and memories to fight in flawless sync. Victorious but permanently bonded, they accept their shared destiny, protecting the facility and seeking others like them to continue their parents' unification mission. The sky was a canvas of hues as Marcus Chun descended from the plane, his cargo slung over his shoulder. The air was thick with dust and debris, making it hard to see more than a few feet in front of him. But he couldn't shake off the feeling that something wasn't right. EXT, Planet Crash, Day Marcus Chun, a seasoned cargo pilot with over 20 years of experience flying freight between Earth and various planets, had just completed his last flight for the day when he experienced an unexpected landing on a restricted planet called Zorian. As he stood up from the plane, debris scattered all around him, making it challenging to see more than a few feet in front of him. With a mix of shock and relief, Marcus navigated through the mess until his cargo was safely secured in its designated area. He made his way over to Lyra, who had been monitoring his progress from miles away on her secure observation station. Lyra's eyes met his gaze as she spotted the familiar features that seemed like they were part of his body or soul. They locked for a moment before her voice broke. "Marcus," she said in a whisper, "are you all right? You look strange." Her words caught him off guard and made him realize he had forgotten to check for any injuries on himself during the flight. "I'm fine, Lyra," replied Marcus with a deep breath. "Just shaken up a bit by the landing itself. But I'll be okay once we're back on Earth." Lyra nodded in understanding as she continued her observation of his surroundings. Zorian is known for its extreme climate conditions, and it's been reported that the planet has an atmosphere with high levels of nitrogen oxides, which can cause respiratory problems if not properly filtered. You should take some time to rest and recover before venturing out again. Marcus nodded once more in response, grateful for her concern. "Thank you, Lyra," he said softly. "I'll make sure I do that." As Marcus settled down on the ground, his mind began to race with questions about the crash landing itself. He wondered what caused the engine failure, and how he could have managed to land safely without a parachute or emergency beacon. He started examining the wreckage of the plane, looking for any clues as to its cause. After hours of searching, he eventually located one of the main engines, which had been damaged by an impact from another spacecraft in orbit around Zorian. Marcus began analyzing the engine's components and determined that there were indeed signs of a mechanical failure, causing it to shut down mid-flight. He then examined his own parachute system, hoping to find any damage or wear and tear that might have contributed to its malfunction. As he carefully inspected each component, Marcus couldn't help but feel a sense of unease knowing that the crash had occurred on an uncharted planet with limited resources and harsh environmental conditions. The lack of communication signals from Earth made it difficult for rescue teams to locate him or assess his injuries in time. Suddenly, a loud beeping sound interrupted his thoughts as he realized there was an emergency beacon attached to one of the engines. He quickly checked its function, which indicated that it had been activated by a signal received from another spacecraft nearby. "Someone's trying to contact us," Marcus said with a sense of urgency. "Let's see if we can figure out who." He carefully untangled the parachute system and retrieved his phone, which he hoped would still work in this remote location. As he began making calls, Lyra heard a voice on the other end. "Hello? This is Zorian Security," said an unfamiliar female voice. Marcus hesitated for a moment before responding, hoping to remain anonymous. "We're Marcus Chun, cargo pilot with experience traveling between Earth and various planets." The woman replied in a soothing tone. He conveyed confidence in his credentials as a skilled space traveler. "We have received distress signals from your plane while on the ground," she said. "Our satellite network detected an unusual signal source nearby, which led us to investigate further. We believe it may be caused by one of our own satellites malfunctioning and transmitting a distress message to Earth." Marcus's heart raced as he realized that his plane had somehow collided with their own satellite. The emergency beacon was likely sent from the damaged satellite to alert rescue teams. Lyra listened intently, trying to piece together the information she'd received so far. "According to our sources," Lyra said, "your plane crashed into one of Zorian's main satellites while in orbit around it earlier today. We believe that your engine was likely damaged by a collision with the satellite and caused its shutdown mid-flight." As Marcus continued his phone call, he realized that this wasn't just any ordinary emergency situation, but an imminent threat to their own survival. "We're coordinating our resources and sending out search teams on both Zorian and neighboring planets," she said. "We will need your assistance in locating you and assessing the extent of the damage from your plane's crash." With a heavy heart, Marcus agreed to assist with this matter, knowing that his skills as a cargo pilot were vital in rescuing those stranded on the planet. As he continued making calls, Lyra listened intently for any additional details or updates about the situation. She could sense that there was still much work to be done and that the search effort would require patience, perseverance, and determination. "Please stay calm and follow our instructions," she said as Marcus hung up his phone. "We will do everything in our power to locate you." With renewed resolve, Marcus began making preparations for rescue efforts by contacting other planets with satellite communication capabilities and coordinating with local authorities on Zorian's planet. The days turned into weeks, and the search effort went through numerous twists and turns as they encountered various obstacles and challenges. But never once did Marcus lose sight of his goal: to return home safely, free from the dangerous conditions that awaited him on this restricted planet. As he received more information about their satellite's wreckage and its potential location, Marcus knew he was one step closer to finding a solution that would save not only himself, but those who had been stranded in Zorian. With every passing day, his determination grew stronger, knowing that the odds were against him, but also confident in his skills as a skilled cargo pilot and his ability to overcome any obstacle. Finally, after weeks of intense searching, Marcus received an unexpected breakthrough: a satellite debris field with high-resolution images leading directly towards Zorian's orbit. With renewed hope, he raced back to Earth, determined to extract the information needed to rescue those stranded on the planet. As he arrived at the crash site, Lyra was waiting for him inside their observation station, where they carefully analyzed the satellite data and identified a specific location where Marcus had last seen his plane's engine before it shut down. "Congratulations," said Lyra as she presented him with an image of the debris field. "We have located your crashed spacecraft, and we believe that it may be in this area." With renewed determination, Marcus carefully navigated through the debris fields, scanning for any signs of life or wreckage from his plane's engine. Finally, after hours of searching, he stumbled upon a small cluster of satellite components embedded deep within the soil. As he cautiously approached them, he could see that they were still functioning and had not been damaged in a catastrophic collision like the one reported earlier. With renewed hope, Marcus carefully extracted the debris and carefully examined each component, hoping to identify any clues or evidence as to the cause of his plane's engine malfunction. After hours of tireless work, he finally discovered a small piece of data that suggested a potential solution: a damaged solar panel in an adjacent satellite. The repair process would require significant resources and expertise, but was essential if they were to locate your crashed spacecraft and rescue those stranded on Zorian. Lyra watched with excitement as Marcus continued the repairs, knowing that his actions had not only saved their own lives, but also helped others who might have been lost in similar situations. As he worked tirelessly to repair the damaged solar panels, Lyra remained by his side, offering words of encouragement and support. "You are a true hero," she said softly. "Your dedication and skills as a cargo pilot will never be forgotten on this planet." With renewed determination and purpose, Marcus continued working on repairing the solar panel, knowing that he was one step closer to finding your crashed spacecraft. Finally, after weeks of intense repairs and hard work, Marcus returned home, exhausted but relieved. He emerged from his spaceship battered and bruised, but with a newfound sense of hope and determination for saving others in similar situations. As he lay down on the couch, surrounded by the familiar sights and sounds of Earth, Marcus couldn't help but feel grateful to Lyra and her team for their invaluable assistance during this difficult time. He knew that his journey as an explorer would continue, with challenges ahead, but always filled with wonder and excitement at each new discovery. As he drifted off into sleep, Marcus felt a sense of peace knowing that he had returned home safely and fulfilled the mission to save those stranded on Zorian, forever etched in his memories as one of humanity's greatest heroes. As Marcus lay on his bed, exhausted but content with the safety of Earth, he couldn't help but reflect on his journey back to Zorian. The events leading up to his crash landing had been a whirlwind of danger and adventure, testing both his skills as a cargo pilot and his unwavering determination to survive. The last time Marcus was seen in action was during the mission to save stranded miners on an alien planet known only by its code name Zorian. The team had landed their spacecraft just outside the planet's surface, but as they prepared for landing, chaos struck when a powerful storm swept through and destroyed much of the infrastructure. Marcus' ship was damaged beyond repair, leaving them with no means of communication or propulsion to escape. Desperate to find a way home, Marcus frantically worked on repairing his solar panel, determined to keep their spacecraft functional long enough for rescue missions to reach them. Meanwhile, back in Zorian, Lyra and her team had managed to locate the crashed spacecraft using advanced sensors and scanners that revealed its unique design and location. They quickly realized it was a heavily modified version of one they previously worked with on another planet called Kodia, which had been experiencing similar issues due to a malfunctioning energy generator. Lyra's heart sank when she spotted Marcus' familiar eyes while conducting the scans. Despite his injuries and physical state, he seemed determined to help in any way he could, even if it meant putting himself at risk for further harm during their rescue mission. With renewed resolve, Lyra led a team of skilled astronauts on a perilous journey through treacherous terrain and hostile environments to reach Marcus' ship. The crew consisted of experienced pilots, scientists, engineers, and survivalists who worked together seamlessly, relying on each other's strengths and expertise to overcome the challenges they encountered. As they approached the crashed spacecraft, Lyra could see its massive size and intricate design, which only added to their determination to rescue her colleague. They carefully loaded supplies, equipment, and Marcus' personal belongings onto a small drone that was equipped with advanced navigation systems. The team launched into the sky, soaring towards the wreckage of Marcus's ship as they encountered unexpected obstacles along the way, such as treacherous cliffs, dense forests, and harsh weather conditions. Despite these challenges, Lyra remained focused on her mission to rescue Marcus. knowing that their ultimate goal was not just his survival, but also the safety and well-being of all those stranded on Zorian. As they approached the ship, Marcus' eyes met hers directly, a look filled with hope and determination. Recognizing his familiarity from earlier encounters, Lyra couldn't help but feel her heart race as she prepared to make contact. With a click of their remote control, the drone landed precisely in front of the debris field. Lyra cautiously stepped out onto the surface, her eyes scanning the area for any sign of Marcus or any signs that they had been injured. During their journey back from Kodia, after several tense moments, she spotted him lying on the ground, his face battered and bruised, but with a glimmer in his eye. With renewed energy, Lyra rushed over to help him up and assess his injuries. She quickly realized that he was severely disoriented and needed medical attention immediately. Without hesitation, Lyra used her emergency kit to patch his wounds and stabilize his vital signs before calling for backup. As they waited for rescue helicopters to arrive, Marcus' team worked tirelessly to repair the ship's damaged systems, while also gathering more information about Zorian's current conditions and any potential dangers that might lie ahead. They scoured the wreckage for clues, examining every scrap of debris and analyzing data from their instruments to identify possible locations where they could find survivors or supplies. Meanwhile, back on Earth, Lyra continued her work with Marcus' team in preparing for rescue missions once they had recovered his medical status. She used her vast knowledge of engineering and robotics to design new systems and equipment that would assist the astronauts as they searched for survivors and delivered vital resources back home. As weeks turned into months, Lyra's dedication paid off when a successful rescue mission was launched, bringing Marcus' team safely back on Earth. The news of their incredible achievement spread across the globe, igniting a surge in interest and admiration for humanity's ability to overcome adversity and save lives. For Marcus Chun, who had been stranded on Zorian during his crash landing, it marked the beginning of a new chapter in his life. As he lay back on the couch, surrounded by family and friends gathered around him, he couldn't help but feel grateful for Lyra and her team's unwavering determination to rescue him from the brink of death. In that moment, as he looked up at the stars above, Marcus knew that his journey would continue with challenges ahead. But knowing what it means to be part of a community that values survival and perseverance in times of darkness, he was ready for whatever lay ahead. For himself, as well as countless others who had been lost or stranded on Zorian, Marcus Chin felt grateful to have the chance to return home safe and fulfilled, forever etched in his memories as one of humanity's greatest heroes. Global outline. Cargo pilot Marcus Chin lands on a restricted planet, his life hanging in the balance as he struggles to stay alive amidst the harsh conditions and hostile environment of Zorian. On landing, Marcus discovers that the planet is infested with dangerous creatures and lacks basic necessities such as water, food, and shelter. He must find ways to survive while also attempting to make contact with his team on Earth back home. As he wanders through the desolate landscape, Marcus encounters Lyra, a guard working tirelessly for the rescue mission. Despite her initial mistrust due to their unexpected encounter, Marcus finds himself drawn into Lyra's world and begins to develop a connection not only as a pilot, but also as an ally in his struggle for survival. As they venture deeper into Zorian, Marcus learns that he is not alone on the planet. He encounters other stranded survivors who have been similarly affected by their encounter with the dangerous creatures. Together, they form a makeshift community and work to find ways to adapt and survive on this hostile world. They discover that the planet's core holds powerful resources, including an ancient energy source that could potentially provide them with the means of survival. However, The resource is guarded fiercely by a mysterious group known as the Guardians, who will stop at nothing to protect their existence. Marcus and his team must navigate through treacherous terrain, face off against fierce creatures, and outsmart the Guardians in order to obtain the energy source and escape Zorian. Along the way, they encounter unexpected allies and enemies that challenge their resolve and push them to new limits of endurance and ingenuity. Asterisk as they draw closer to their goal, Marcus must confront his own fears and doubts about returning home. He knows that he has left a lasting impact on this harsh world, but does he have the courage to face the consequences and leave behind what is no longer feasible? Ultimately, as they reach Zorian's edge and make contact with their rescue team back Earth, Marcus faces his greatest challenge yet, the realization of the toll that his mission has taken on him. He must confront the guilt and trauma he feels over his own failure to save those who were lost or stranded, while also acknowledging the sacrifices made by others in the quest for survival. Asterisk as they say goodbye to their newfound friends and prepare to leave Zorian behind, Marcus realizes that his journey has only just begun. He knows that there will be more challenges and obstacles ahead, but with Lyra's unwavering support and community of survivors at his side, he is ready to face whatever the future holds. As they embark on their return journey, Marcus reflects on the lessons learned during his time in Zorian. He realizes that survival doesn't mean being tough or fearless, but rather adaptability, resilience, and a deep connection with others who share your goals and aspirations. Asterisk in the end, as he lands safely back on Earth, Marcus Chun is not just hailed as one of humanity's greatest heroes for his incredible rescue mission. He becomes an inspiration to those around him, reminding them that even in the darkest moments, there is always hope and possibility for survival. His story serves as a testament to the human spirit, unwavering determination, and perseverance in times of adversity, and serves as a reminder that we are capable of overcoming any obstacle if only we remain vigilant, adaptable, and committed to our shared goal of protecting life on this fragile planet. Int. Zorian Research Lab. Day Marcus Chun stands at the edge of a large, dimly lit room filled with advanced technology and machinery. The sun is setting behind him as he looks out over his former home planet, Zorian. He had crash-landed on this restricted world after a successful mission to retrieve classified data from an alien research facility. The atmosphere was eerie, with the sounds of distant machinery echoing through the room like echoes in a cavernous space. Marcus knew that there would be more challenges and obstacles ahead, but also an opportunity for growth and redemption. He had spent months on this planet, studying its unique ecosystem and gathering information about its inhabitants before his mission. As he made his way back to Earth with Lyra, their journey began as they traversed the dangerous terrain of Zorian's surface. They encountered various obstacles along the way, treacherous mountains, toxic rainstorms, and hostile wildlife that posed a constant threat to them. However, Lyra was by his side, offering support and encouragement every step of the way. One particular moment stands out in Marcus' memory. He spotted an unusual sight as they approached a rocky outcropping. A group of creatures resembling bipedal animals with glowing eyes glided towards them, their movements fluid and graceful. As the creatures advanced closer, Marcus couldn't help but feel a sense of fear, but Lyra's calm presence calmed him down. She noticed his concern and spoke to one of the creatures, who introduced himself as Zorian Guardian Xantha. "Greetings, traveler," he said in a soothing voice. "We have been watching over you on this planet for some time now, and we must admit that your mission was a success." Xantha explained that their civilization had advanced significantly since Marcus's arrival, with technological advancements that allowed them to survive in the harsh conditions of Zorian. They were not alone, though. They had formed an intricate network of alliances and mutual defense systems among various species. The creature's glowing eyes fascinated Marcus as he realized how interconnected they were with each other and their environment. He learned about the symbiotic relationships between plants, animals, and even humans in this ecosystem, forming a delicate balance that was essential for Zorian's survival. As they continued on their journey back to Earth, Marcus faced various challenges again, but this time it wasn't just external factors like natural disasters or hostile wildlife. He also had to confront his own demons from the past, while dealing with the emotional toll of the crash landing and the loss of his family. He visited the former home planet's survivors on a remote island, where he met Sarah, one of Lyra's closest friends who had survived the crash along with several other individuals. Sarah was devastated by Marcus' departure but remained resilient, sharing stories about their journey together while basking in the warmth and support of her community. As they continued to rebuild their lives after the traumatic event, Marcus found solace in his newfound relationships with others. He became a mentor to the island's youth, sharing his knowledge and experiences with them. His role as Zorian guardian brought him closer to Lyra once again, but also allowed him to forge new connections that would shape his future. In one particularly memorable encounter, Marcus met Jackson, an ex-military officer who had become a skilled survivalist after the crash landing. He shared stories of his experiences in Zorian and offered guidance on how to build a base for himself while remaining within the planet's restricted environment. Jackson challenged Marcus' assumptions about what it meant to be resilient and resourceful, emphasizing that true strength came from finding new ways to adapt and overcome challenges rather than relying solely on technology or external resources. This revelation sparked a profound shift in his perspective and helped him embrace a more holistic approach to survival in the face of adversity. As they continued their journey back home, Marcus realized that he had gained not only personal growth, but also a deeper sense of purpose as Zorian Guardian. He was no longer just an ordinary cargo pilot. Rather, he became a symbol of hope and resilience for all those who face challenges on this planet. On the final leg of his return journey to Earth, Marcus encountered the renowned scientist Dr. Grace O'Donnell, who had been working tirelessly to uncover new information about Zorian's past and potential future inhabitants. She was impressed by Marcus' dedication to their mission and shared her findings with him. Dr. O'Donnell revealed that the planet's ecosystem was not as stable or diverse as initially thought, suggesting that there were still hidden dangers lurking beneath its surface. However, she also offered a glimmer of hope, a potential source for new life forms if Zorian Guardian could manage to harness the unique energy and resources found on this restricted world. Marcus felt inspired by Dr. O'Donnell's vision, recognizing that he had an essential role in preserving not only their planet, but also its future inhabitants. He set out with renewed determination to uncover the secrets of Zorian and find a way to bring new life into these harsh environments. As they journeyed deeper into the heartland of Zorian, Marcus encountered various obstacles, including treacherous terrain, hostile wildlife, and ancient ruins that threatened their mission at every turn. However, he remained steadfast in his commitment to saving this fragile planet from destruction. He met a group of underground miners who had discovered an oasis hidden deep within a dense cave system. They shared stories about the dangers they faced while exploring the caves, but also showed him how they managed to find food and water using their knowledge of hydrothermal systems and innovative mining techniques. As Marcus witnessed the miners' hard work, he realized that his mission was not just about rescuing people from Zorian. It was about preserving a valuable resource for future generations. He became an advocate for sustainable mining practices and encouraged them to explore new methods of extracting resources while minimizing their impact on the planet's ecosystem. In one particularly heart-wrenching scene, Marcus led a group of miners to retrieve a rare mineral that had been trapped underground due to its unique composition. They encountered fierce predators in the cave system, but he used his knowledge and experience as a pilot to navigate them safely back into the surface. As they emerged from the caves, Marcus was hailed by an ecstatic community of survivors who recognized his bravery and determination. They welcomed him with open arms, sharing stories about their journey together while celebrating their newfound connection with Zorian Guardian. In that moment, Marcus realized that he had not only made a difference in saving lives, but also forged new friendships and connections that would last a lifetime. He knew that the road ahead would be challenging, but as they continued to navigate this complex world, his unwavering commitment to protecting life on Zorian kept him motivated and focused. The long journey back home was not an easy one, but it had given Marcus a newfound appreciation for the power of resilience and community. He returned to Earth with a renewed sense of purpose, knowing that he would be instrumental in preserving this planet's unique ecosystem and ensuring its future survival. And so, as Marcus Chin stands on his porch overlooking Zorian, surrounded by the familiar faces of those who had supported him during his journey back home, he knows that whatever challenges lie ahead, he is ready to face them head-on with courage, adaptability, and unwavering determination. For in this restricted planet where survival means overcoming adversity through resilience, hope, and love, Marcus Chun remains a beacon of light for all those who seek refuge on the fringes of our universe. Global outline. Cargo pilot Marcus Chun crash lands on a restricted planet known as Zorian. Upon landing, he encounters the enigmatic guard Lyra, who recognizes him despite their vastly different backgrounds and experiences. Asterisk in his previous life, Marcus was an experienced cargo pilot working for a major airline in New York City. He had traveled extensively across the globe, venturing into uncharted territories to deliver valuable goods that helped keep people connected and informed about important global issues. However, on this restricted planet, he finds himself struggling to survive due to its harsh environment and lack of resources. Asterisk as Marcus navigates through Zorian's rugged terrain, he encounters various challenges that threaten his survival. He faces dangerous wildlife, extreme temperatures, and hostile indigenous tribes who view him as a threat to their way of life. Despite these obstacles, Marcus remains determined to survive and protect the fragile ecosystem on this restricted planet. Asterisk as days turn into weeks, Marcus forms unlikely friendships with local residents, including a wise old woman named Zara who teaches him about the intricacies of Zorian's natural resources and provides valuable insights that help him make informed decisions. He also meets a young girl named Aiden, who shares her dreams of exploring the planet's vast wilderness and becoming an adventurer like Marcus. Asterisk as they work together to build shelter, grow crops, and find water sources, Marcus begins to unravel secrets about Zorian's past and its inhabitants that hint at a hidden dark history. He discovers that the restricted planet was once home to advanced technological civilizations that had long since vanished due to environmental destruction and political instability. Asterisk as he delves deeper into this mysterious past, Marcus becomes increasingly aware of the gravity of his mission to protect Zorian's ecosystem from falling under the control of external forces that seek to exploit its resources for profit. He realizes that if the planet were ever destroyed or depleted, it would irreparably harm not only humanity, but also countless other species and life forms. Asterisk with this newfound sense of purpose in mind, Marcus decides to take matters into his own hands by rallying the local community against these external threats and working with a team of experts from Earth who can help him devise sustainable solutions. He faces numerous obstacles along the way, including resistance from corrupt officials, lack of resources, and personal conflicts that threaten their efforts. Asterisk as they work tirelessly to save Zorian's ecosystem, Marcus's friendships grow stronger as he learns about the importance of cooperation, empathy, and mutual respect in overcoming adversity. He realizes that his actions have a profound impact not only on himself, but also on those around him, who are increasingly aware of their role in shaping the planet's future. Asterisk in the end, after months of hard work and sacrifice, Marcus and his team succeed in restoring much-needed resources to Zorian's ecosystem while preserving its unique natural beauty. The restricted planet becomes a thriving haven for flora and fauna that flourish under the watchful eye of their newfound friends from Earth. Asterisk as they reflect on their journey back home, Marcus reflects upon the lessons he learned about resilience, community, and the power of human connection during his time in Zorian. He knows that the challenges faced there were not easy or without consequences, but through sheer determination, courage, and love for what is right, he was able to make a difference in both their worlds. Asterisk as Marcus Chin stands on his porch overlooking Zorian once again, surrounded by the familiar faces of those who had supported him during his journey back home. He knows that whatever challenges lie ahead, he is ready to face them with passion, adaptability, and unwavering determination. For in this restricted planet where survival means overcoming adversity through resilience, hope, and love, Marcus Chun remains a beacon of light for all those seeking refuge on the fringes of our universe. /19624 Marcus Chun Zorian. Lyra. Zorian. Marcus Zorian. Marcus Chun. Zorian. Marcus Chun. Zorian. Marcus Chun. Zorian. Marcus Chun. Zorian. Marcus Chun Lyra Zorian. Zorian. Zorian Lyra. Zorian. Marcus Chun. Zorian Marcus Chun. Zorian. Zorian. Marcus Chun Lyra. Zorian. Zorian. Marcus Chun. Zorian. 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 Marcus Chun. Zorian. Zorian. Marcus Chun. Zorian. Zorian. Marcus Chun Lyra. Chapter 1. The Crash Landing. Marcus Chun, a seasoned cargo pilot with a reputation for reliability and skill on the open skies of Zorian, found himself stranded when his plane suddenly lost all power just minutes after takeoff. He scrambled to regain control, but was unable to do so as the engine roared into life under its own steam. As he glided over the deserted planet's surface, a sense of dread washed over him. The eerie silence contrasted starkly with the sounds of rushing winds and chirping birds that filled the air around him. Despite his training on navigating unfamiliar terrain, Marcus felt like an outsider in this hostile environment, surrounded by the harsh realities of life beyond the stars. He peered out through a crack in the canopy to gaze upon Zorian's sprawling expanse, its rocky craters and vast fields stretching as far as he could see. As he took stock of his situation, Marcus realized that his plane had crashed on what appeared to be an uncharted moon or asteroid system, leaving him stranded with no way back. He tried using the aircraft's GPS to locate a suitable landing site, but found it impossible due to the thick atmosphere and lack of landmarks in the dark sky. Desperate for assistance, he turned towards Lyra, who had been monitoring his progress from the safety of her guards' quarters on the planet's surface. Lyra emerged from one of their hideouts, still wearing a protective suit despite being exposed to the harsh elements outside. She noticed Marcus struggling with the controls and motioned him toward them. With a sense of urgency, she pulled out an old radio and began transmitting his coordinates to nearby air traffic control. As the signal propagated through space, Marcus's heart raced as he prepared for the worst. He knew that if they didn't find a solution soon, their lives would be hanging in the balance. In moments of panic, Marcus reached into his pocket and pulled out his communication device, hoping against all odds to stay connected with Earth. Despite being miles away from any civilization or infrastructure, the radio signal was received by a team on the ground monitoring Zorian's satellite communications network. With renewed hope, they scrambled to locate a suitable landing site for Marcus and Lyra within the next few hours. Chapter 2. The arrival. As chaos ensued as they searched for a rescue mission, Marcus, Chun, and Lyra found themselves face-to-face with their guard team on the planet's outskirts. They were greeted by a group of rugged soldiers equipped with specialized gear to navigate treacherous terrain in the harsh conditions of Zorian. Despite the initial confusion at first, Marcus quickly realized that his skills as a pilot were invaluable in this situation. He took charge and directed the troops towards one of the available landing sites, which was nestled amidst rolling hills covered in lush greenery. With their combined efforts, they managed to safely land the aircraft on the barren terrain just moments before sunset. The team led by Marcus unloaded the survivors onto a makeshift stretcher, ensuring that each person received medical attention and support. Lyra then stepped forward, her eyes scanning through the gathered group for any signs of life or damage to their gear from the crash landing. As she scanned the area, she noticed a small wooden cabin nestled in one of the rocky crevices, its windows shattered by the impact. Feeling an immediate need to help, Lyra had the makeshift shelter and cautiously made her way inside. Inside, they discovered that it had been abandoned for years due to the harsh conditions on Zorian's surface. The interior was a mess, with debris scattered everywhere and evidence of extensive damage from the crash landing. Despite their initial shock, Marcus quickly assessed the situation and formulated a plan to stabilize the cabin before attempting to repair its structural integrity or find any survivors inside. He instructed Lyra to gather supplies while he worked on repairing the damage as best she could using basic tools and materials that they had gathered in the field. Chapter 3. The survival. As Marcus and Lyra began their efforts, they encountered numerous challenges along the way. The harsh climate of Zorian's surface made it difficult for them to survive without proper clothing, shelter, or food supplies. They scavenged through the debris on the ground, searching for anything that could provide a glimmer of hope. As darkness fell over the planet, Lyra and Marcus set up their makeshift camp in one of the caves beneath an ancient tree, using the sunlight filtered through its leaves to light their way. They shared basic meals from the discarded food supplies they had collected and worked tirelessly each day to gather resources for survival until morning. Over time, they adapted to life on Zorian's harsh terrain, learning how to navigate the rugged terrain with caution and relying on the natural environment around them for shelter and sustenance. They discovered that certain plants could be used as medicine or food sources, while others provided valuable resources such as firewood, water, and minerals. As days turned into weeks, Marcus began to feel a growing sense of camaraderie among his fellow survivors. He shared stories from his past adventures with Lyra, marveling at the challenges he had faced on other planets but never imagined facing on Zorian's harsh environment. Despite their differences in background, Marcus and Lyra found common ground in their determination to survive and overcome adversity. They relied on each other for support during difficult times and celebrated small victories along the way, such as finding a fresh water source or discovering an edible plant that they had never tasted before. Chapter 4. The search as weeks turned into months. Marcus and Lyra's efforts paid off when news of their rescue mission reached Earth. Their bravery and resourcefulness were widely acclaimed in space exploration circles, with some even considering them heroes for risking life to save others on a distant planet. Excited by the prospect of returning home safely, they launched a daring plan to establish communication back on Earth. They scouted out potential launch sites using their satellite communications equipment, but found no viable options that would reach Zorian in time. Determined not to give up hope, Marcus and Lyra continued their efforts, traveling through treacherous terrain across the universe until finally reaching a small asteroid system orbiting around one of Earth's moons. With renewed determination, they scrambled for an optimal launch angle, aiming to strike at just the right moment and maximize their chances of getting back home. Chapter 5. The arrival. As the asteroid approached Zorian, Marcus and Lyra prepared themselves for impact. They activated their communication devices once again, sending a distress signal over vast distances using the satellite's advanced technology. After what felt like an eternity, they received confirmation from Earth that they had successfully reached the target system and were safe. Overwhelmed with relief, they raced towards the asteroid and carefully maneuvered it towards its designated landing site in a small clearing surrounded by lush greenery. As they descended to the ground, Marcus's heart pounding with anticipation, he took out his communication device once again to share their success story with Earth. They described the harrowing journey from crash landing on Zorian to successfully establishing contact and returning home safely. The news of their rescue mission was a sensation worldwide, generating widespread praise for their bravery and determination in facing seemingly insurmountable challenges on a distant planet. Marcus, Chun, and Lyra became heroes in space exploration circles, inspiring future generations with their resilience, adaptability, and unwavering commitment to survival. Our journey had not only saved the lives of those stranded on Zorian, but also reminded humanity that even in the most inhospitable environments, hope and perseverance can lead to amazing achievements. As they stepped off the spacecraft after a successful return home, Marcus, Chun, and Lyra knew that their story would continue to inspire others for generations to come. Zorian Planet. Day. As Marcus, Chun, and Lyra, the cargo pilot duo, descended from their spacecraft after a successful return home on Zorian, they couldn't help but feel an overwhelming sense of relief wash over them. The asteroid had been their lifeline for weeks now as they navigated treacherous terrain to reach safety. Their hearts pounded with anticipation as they raced towards the designated landing site in a small clearing surrounded by lush greenery. Upon arrival, Marcus and Lyra cautiously made their way through a dense network of interconnected tubes that connected various areas on the planet. As they descended to the ground, the air grew thick with dust and debris, causing visibility to blur and making it difficult for them to make out specific landmarks. The gravity seemed unbalanced, causing their bodies to wobble as they struggled to keep their footing in a world where the laws of physics were different from Earth. As they neared the landing site, Marcus realized that his communication device was no longer functioning due to a malfunction caused by an unexpected solar storm that had hit Zorian just days before. Despite this setback, he knew he couldn't let fear control him and quickly grabbed hold of a spare communicator from one of the tubes. Emergency message, he transmitted through the device with all his might. We have encountered an unforeseen situation on our return home to Zorian. Our communication equipment malfunctioned due to a solar storm, leaving us stranded without any means of contact or communication. Lyra's heart raced as she listened intently, her mind racing with possibilities for what could be wrong. She knew that the lack of communication meant they would have limited time before supplies ran out and further complications arose. "We need help," Marcus replied urgently, his voice barely above a whisper as he searched through his memory banks for any possible leads or strategies to reach Earth. "We've been on this planet for weeks now, relying solely on our instincts and technology." Lyra's heart sank at the thought of their limited resources remaining before they could receive assistance from Earth. She knew that without communication with the outside world, Marcus might be facing a dire situation. They had no food or water supplies, no medical equipment to treat injuries, and no means of accessing any forms of transportation. "Stay calm," Lyra whispered, her voice laced with concern for their safety. "We've made it safely back home so far, but we need help now more than ever." Suddenly, a faint glow appeared on the ground around them, indicating that they were not alone in this dangerous situation. The planet's atmosphere seemed to crackle with energy as an unseen force moved through the tubes, causing the air to vibrate and dance. "Over here," Marcus exclaimed, his voice shaking with excitement as he recognized what had just happened. "The signal is coming from a nearby planet." Lyra's eyes widened in disbelief at the revelation before her. The planet they were approaching was not just any ordinary asteroid. It was home to an advanced civilization that had developed incredible technology and resources. "Captain, we need you to beam over," Lyra said, tears streaming down her face as she thought about their potential rescue. "Our communication device has been damaged by the solar storm, so there's no way for us to contact Earth." Marcus nodded in agreement, his mind racing with ideas on how they could establish a connection and receive assistance from the otherworldly beings that were now monitoring the situation. "First things first," Marcus said, taking out a small device he had collected earlier. "We'll need to activate the beacon we found earlier to send a signal back to Earth." Lyra's eyes widened at the thought of transmitting their coordinates and location across vast distances in just a few seconds. The planet they were approaching was an unknown distance away, but Marcus knew that this could be crucial for finding them. "We have to conserve energy as much as possible," he said, his voice tight with concentration as he activated the beacon. "We'll try our best to send multiple signals at once, using different frequencies and altitudes." Lyra nodded in agreement before taking hold of a nearby container filled with spare supplies that they had gathered during their mission on Zorian. She carefully placed the supply inside the device and pressed the button. "Over there," Marcus called out, his voice echoing through the tubes as he watched the beacon begin to glow brighter. "We've transmitted our coordinates." Lyra's heart raced as she anticipated the response from Earth. The signal should arrive within a few minutes or hours depending on their distance from the target planet and the strength of the signal. Marcus Chun could hear faint sounds emanating from a nearby planet several light years away. He frantically pressed the button again, this time using a different frequency that was more sensitive to radio waves. The beacon grew brighter once again, indicating that their transmission had been received by Earth's communication network. Lyra held her breath as she watched the screen fill with images and messages from Earth. Images of rescue helicopters descending on the asteroid, medical supplies being loaded onto the aircraft, and soldiers rushing towards the scene were displayed in real time. "Captain," Lyra exclaimed, tears streaming down her face as she read through the communication from Earth's team. "We have received your distress signal." Marcus Chun felt a surge of relief wash over him as he saw images of his team performing their duties on the planet safely and effectively. They had successfully rescued several stranded individuals and provided vital medical assistance to those in need. The rescue mission was challenging, but we were able to overcome all obstacles, Marcus said, his voice filled with pride and accomplishment. Our communication device malfunctioned during our journey back home, which hindered us from reaching Earth. However, the beacon sent a signal that reached Earth within minutes. Lyra's eyes widened in disbelief as she read through the messages again, her heart racing at their bravery and determination in facing such daunting challenges. "We need your help now," Lyra said, tears streaming down her face as she thought about their limited resources remaining before they could receive assistance from Earth. "We have no food or water supplies, no medical equipment to treat injuries, and no means of accessing any forms of transportation." "Captain," Marcus replied in a firm tone, his voice filled with determination. "We'll work together to establish a connection with the otherworldly beings on the planet." Lyra's heart raced as she nodded in agreement before taking charge of coordinating their efforts. She knew that they would need to navigate through treacherous terrain and communicate effectively with the alien civilization to find resources, repair the communication device, and receive rescue supplies. "I've established a contact with one of our team members," Lyra said, her voice filled with excitement as she transmitted her coordinates to Marcus Chun. "We'll meet at their base on the planet's outskirts tomorrow morning." Marcus nodded in agreement before taking out his communicator once again and sending the same message back to Earth. "Over there," Marcus exclaimed, his voice echoing through the tubes as he watched the beacon grow brighter once again. "We've transmitted our coordinates." Lyra held her breath as she anticipated the response from Earth. The signal should arrive within a few minutes or hours depending on their distance from the target planet and the strength of the signal. Marcus Chun could hear faint sounds emanating from a nearby planet several light years away. He frantically pressed the button again, this time using a different frequency that was more sensitive to radio waves. The beacon grew brighter once again, indicating that their transmission had been received by Earth's communication network. Lyra held her breath as she read through the messages again, her heart racing at their bravery and determination in facing such daunting challenges. "We need your help now," Lyra said, tears streaming down her face as she thought about their limited resources remaining before they could receive assistance from Earth. "We have no food or water supplies, no medical equipment to treat injuries, and no means of accessing any forms of transportation." "Captain," Marcus Chun replied, in a firm tone, his voice filled with determination. "We'll work together to establish a connection with the otherworldly beings on the planet." Lyra's heart raced as she nodded in agreement before taking charge of coordinating their efforts. She knew that they would need to navigate through treacherous terrain and communicate effectively with the alien civilization to find resources, repair the communication device, and receive rescue supplies. "I've established a contact with one of our team members," Lyra said, her voice filled with excitement as she transmitted her coordinates to Marcus Chun. "We'll meet at their base on the planet's outskirts tomorrow morning." Marcus nodded in agreement before taking out his communicator once again and sending the same message back to Earth. "Over there," Marcus exclaimed, his voice echoing through the tubes as he watched the beacon grow brighter once again. "We've transmitted our coordinates." Lyra held her breath as she anticipated the response from Earth. The signal should arrive within a few minutes or hours depending on their distance from the target planet and the strength of the signal. Marcus Chun could hear faint sounds emanating from a nearby planet several light years away. He frantically pressed the button again, this time using a different frequency that was more sensitive to Marcus Chun. Crash lands on a restricted planet and clashes with guard Lyra, until she notices his strangely familiar eyes. The dark, desolate atmosphere of the planet was shrouded in an eerie silence as Marcus landed his cargo plane with caution, his heart pounding within him. As he stepped off the aircraft and looked around, he realized that it wasn't just a random crash. Something had happened to the ship's navigation system. The sky above was obscured by thick clouds of mist, making it difficult for him to see beyond 10 feet in any direction. He walked cautiously towards the nearest building, his senses on high alert as he tried to assess the situation. The air was tense and filled with a strange energy that seemed almost palpable. Marcus's eyes scanned the area, searching for signs of life or other ships. Suddenly, Lyra appeared out of nowhere, her bright green uniform standing in front of him. She looked up at his face, her eyes narrowing as she took note of his familiar look. "Captain Chun," she said, a hint of recognition in her voice. "I recognize you from the distress signal we received earlier." Marcus's heart skipped a beat as he recognized Lyra too. They had worked together on several missions before and shared an uncanny connection that made them natural partners. He took a deep breath and tried to compose himself. "Are you okay?" he asked, his voice barely above a whisper. Lyra shook her head in response, her eyes narrowing further as she assessed the situation. "There's something strange here," she said, pointing towards a nearby mountain range. "It looks like there are massive trees blocking our path." Marcus nodded in understanding and followed Lyra deeper into the wilderness. They walked for what felt like hours, dodging thickets of boulders and avoiding treacherous terrain as they navigated through the dense forest. As they climbed higher, Marcus couldn't shake off a sense of unease. The trees were so tall that it seemed impossible to see beyond their reach, and every step he took was accompanied by an eerie humming noise. He tried to ignore it, focusing instead on his mission at hand. Suddenly, they heard a faint sound coming from the distance, growing louder with each passing moment. They followed the sound deeper into the forest, eventually coming across a clearing where a group of indigenous people stood gathered around a fire. The air was thick with smoke as Marcus approached them, feeling like he was walking through molten lava. He spoke in English, his voice shaking slightly due to the distance and the unfamiliar language they were using. "I'm sorry for your loss," he said, trying not to appear overly upset or grief-stricken. The indigenous leader looked up at him with a mixture of surprise and respect. "We are grateful for your assistance," she replied, her eyes shining with gratitude. "Our people have been threatened by outsiders in the past, but we know you are here now to help us." Marcus hesitated for a moment before nodding, his heart racing with excitement at the prospect of working together on this mission. He explained that he and Lyra had received disters, signals from a planet several light years away where there was an incident involving cargo planes being stranded. The indigenous leader nodded in understanding. "We understand," she said. "Our people have always been known to be skilled traders, but we haven't encountered situations like this before." Marcus felt a surge of confidence as he listened to the leader's words. He knew that they had their work cut out for them, but with Lyra by his side and a shared understanding of the situation at hand, anything was possible. Over the next few days, Marcus and Lyra worked tirelessly to gather information about the planet and its inhabitants. They scoured through the dense forest, interviewing local tribes, and studying data from satellite images to try to identify any potential threats or weaknesses that could be exploited by the hostile aliens. As they delved deeper into their investigation, they discovered something that shook them to their very core, a massive underground city hidden beneath the planet's surface. The city was vast and complex, with towering structures made of stone and metal that seemed to defy gravity. The indigenous leader led Marcus and Lyra through the city, marveling at its advanced technology and intricate design. They learned about how the aliens had developed a highly organized system for governing their society, with each level of government controlling different sectors such as mining, agriculture, and transportation. As they made their way back to Earth, Marcus couldn't help but feel a sense of awe at what he was witnessing. The ancient city was a testament to the ingenuity and resilience of the aliens, who had adapted to life in an inhospitable environment with incredible speed and efficiency. But as much as they admired the aliens' achievements, they were also acutely aware of their own limitations. They knew that there would be challenges ahead, including resistance from other factions on Earth or even attacks against their ship if it ever tried to leave this planet again. Despite these obstacles, Marcus and Lyra remained determined to succeed in their mission. They continued working together, drawing upon each other's strengths and expertise to overcome the challenges they faced. As they prepared for rescue supplies, Marcus couldn't shake off a sense of unease about what lay ahead. The alien civilization was hostile, and he wasn't sure if it would be able to trust them or even provide any assistance in their time of need. But as they gathered up tools, food, and other essential items, Lyra placed her hand on his shoulder. "We've faced our fears before," she said with a smile, "and we will do whatever it takes to succeed." Marcus nodded in agreement, feeling inspired by the resilience and determination of their team. They knew that they were not alone, and together they could overcome any obstacle and emerge victorious from this dangerous mission. The Chapter 1, The Restricted Planet and the Strange Eyes on a Routine Flight. Cargo pilot Marcus Chin crash-landed on a restricted planet that was unlike anything he had ever seen before. As he scrambled to assess his surroundings, he couldn't shake off a sense of unease about what lay ahead. He knew that there would be challenges ahead, including resistance from other factions on Earth or even attacks against their ship if it ever tried to leave this planet again. Marcus was an experienced pilot who had flown countless missions in different environments, but the restricted planet presented unique obstacles that he and his team were unprepared for. The atmosphere was thick with a strange, glowing energy that seemed almost palpable, casting eerie shadows across the barren landscape. The terrain was rugged and treacherous, with jagged cliffs, deep ravines, and narrow valleys that loomed overhead like impenetrable walls. As they landed in the middle of this unfamiliar world, Marcus quickly realized that it was not a planet for exploration or leisurely strolling. Instead, he was tasked with delivering supplies to a nearby settlement known as the Nexus, which had been established by a group of colonists who were determined to establish their own civilization on this barren expanse. As they made their way through the dense foliage and rocky terrain, Marcus couldn't shake off the feeling that something wasn't quite right. He noticed that some areas appeared to be heavily fortified with advanced technology, while others looked like remnants from a previous age of exploration. The planet's inhabitants were hostile and seemed to have developed unique ways to defend themselves against intruders. Despite his initial fear, Marcus was determined to complete their mission as quickly and efficiently as possible. He worked closely with Lyra, a skilled engineer who had been brought in on the project by the colonists. Together, they scoured the planet for supplies, looking for everything from food and water to tools and weapons. As they searched through an area that seemed deserted of life, Marcus suddenly spotted something out of the corner of his eye, a strange, shimmering object floating just above him. It was unlike anything he had ever seen before, pulsating with a bright green energy that seemed almost otherworldly. Curiosity getting the best of him, Marcus approached the object and examined it more closely. As he did so, Lyra noticed something odd about his demeanor. She could sense that he wasn't entirely comfortable or confident in what he was seeing, but she couldn't shake off a feeling of unease as well. "What's going on?" Lyra asked, her voice shaking slightly with concern. I believe it may be an alien artifact, Marcus replied, his eyes narrowing. It seems to have some sort of strange ability to manipulate space-time and could potentially pose a threat if we don't destroy it. Lyra nodded in agreement, sensing the gravity of the situation. They knew that they couldn't afford to take any risks with this powerful object, no matter how tempting its potential rewards might be. We need to find another way around, Marcus said, his voice low and urgent. Maybe there's a nearby base or research facility we can use as our shelter. Lyra nodded again, her mind racing with ideas. They had limited resources on the planet and needed every advantage they could get in order to survive until they were rescued. As they continued their search for other supplies and made plans for their next move, Marcus couldn't shake off a sense of unease about what lay ahead. The restricted planet was full of dangers and obstacles that he wasn't sure if he was prepared to face alone. But as the days turned into weeks and the months went by, they began to develop a deeper understanding of this hostile alien civilization and its way of life. They learned that their mission would not be easy or straightforward, but with each passing day, they grew more confident in their ability to succeed. One night, while exploring an area near the Nexus settlement, Marcus stumbled upon something even stranger, a massive underground cavern filled with ancient artifacts and technology from a long-gone era of human civilization. As he examined it closely, he realized that this was no ordinary planet or colony. Instead, it had been built by one of the most advanced civilizations in history. The colonists who had established the Nexus had been fascinated by the secrets of space-time manipulation and had spent centuries exploring distant planets to unlock its mysteries. They had brought with them a wealth of knowledge and technology that they believed would revolutionize their own civilization. But it seemed like something was still missing, some key ingredient or element that could make this incredible discovery truly alive. As Marcus and Lyra delved deeper into the underground caverns, they discovered an ancient device that appeared to be responsible for manipulating space-time. With its advanced technology, they were able to unlock a secret door that led them through a complex network of tunnels and chambers. Inside the chamber was a towering structure made of gleaming crystal and other exotic materials that glowed with an otherworldly energy. It seemed like nothing on Earth had ever been built before. It was as if everything in this realm was designed to work together seamlessly, harnessing the power of space-time for their own purposes. As they explored this incredible discovery, Marcus couldn't help but feel a sense of awe and wonder at what he was seeing. He knew that this might be the key to unlocking even greater secrets on Earth, something that could change not just their lives, but the course of history itself. But with great power comes great responsibility, and as they continued to unravel the mysteries of space-time manipulation, Marcus realized that there were still many challenges and obstacles ahead. The alien civilization was hostile. Its inhabitants had developed unique ways to defend themselves against intruders, and the dangers of this powerful discovery seemed endless. Despite their best efforts, however, Marcus and Lyra persevered, determined to find a way to protect this incredible discovery from falling into the wrong hands or being used for any malicious purposes. They worked tirelessly in secret, gathering intelligence on the alien civilization's plans and strategies while developing new techniques and technologies to counteract its abilities. As they continued their journey through space-time manipulation, Marcus encountered many unexpected allies along the way. Individuals who shared his passion for discovery and had come together to protect this incredible find from destruction. They worked with him in ways that he never could have imagined, helping them unravel complex puzzles, gather crucial information, and develop new strategies. But despite their best efforts, there were always those who sought to exploit or misuse the secrets of space-time manipulation. Marcus knew that they would need all the help they could get if they hoped to succeed. And in this case, that meant working closely with other powerful entities from across the galaxy, including factions on Earth who shared his vision for a brighter future. As they continued their journey through the vast reaches of space-time manipulation, Marcus found himself becoming increasingly aware of the interconnectedness between all things. The secrets he had uncovered were not just about unlocking new technology and knowledge. They were also about understanding how different civilizations and systems interacted with each other in ways that transcended our own. And as he drew closer to their ultimate goal of protecting this incredible discovery, Marcus knew that there was no telling where his journey would take him next. But one thing was for sure. Whatever the future held, he would always be prepared to face it head-on, using every ounce of strength and determination he possessed to make a difference in the world, even if that meant facing impossible odds or risking everything on the line. As Marcus stood at the entrance to the Nexus settlement, surrounded by their newfound allies and colleagues from across the galaxy, he couldn't help but feel a sense of pride and accomplishment. They had faced seemingly insurmountable challenges and obstacles along the way, but through determination, teamwork, and a deep understanding of space-time manipulation, they had managed to overcome them all. And as he looked back on their journey so far, Marcus knew that there was no limit to what he could achieve with this incredible discovery. He would continue to push the boundaries of what was possible in science fiction and explore new frontiers beyond our own solar system, using space-time manipulation to unlock untold secrets and create a brighter future for humanity as a whole. As he stepped through the ancient doorway that led him back into the vast expanse of space, Marcus knew that his journey would never truly end. But no matter where it took him next, one thing was certain. He would always be ready to face whatever challenges lay ahead, using all the knowledge and strength he had been blessed with to make a difference in this incredible world, forever changed by the secrets of space-time manipulation. As Marcus Chin stepped through the ancient doorway that led him back into the vast expanse of space, he felt a surge of energy coursing through his veins. He had been dreaming of exploring new frontiers for as long as he could remember, and now was finally getting to do it. The planet that greeted them was unlike anything they had ever seen before, a barren wasteland shrouded in thick layers of dust and debris from the harsh conditions of space travel. But despite its desolate appearance, there were signs of life on this distant world. Ancient ruins scattered throughout the landscape, strange structures made of stone and metal that seemed to defy explanation. As they approached the first structure, Marcus couldn't help but notice a figure standing guard at one end. Its body was covered in scars, evidence of fierce battles fought between rival factions for control over the planet's resources. As he drew closer, his eyes met those familiar ones. Lyra, the enigmatic and mysterious guard. Lyra looked up as she saw Marcus approach, her gaze a mixture of fear and curiosity. "You," she said softly, "have come to claim this place." Her voice was soft but distinct, like a melody that had been honed over years in battlefields across countless stars. Marcus felt his heart pounding with excitement at the prospect of discovering something truly extraordinary on this distant planet. He stepped closer and looked deeper into Lyra's eyes, studying every detail for any sign of hidden clues as he did so, Marcus couldn't help but feel a sense of pride wash over him, not just for himself, but also for all those who had fought to protect the world from malevolent forces that threatened to destroy everything they held dear. "Excuse me," Marcus said respectfully. "I'm here on behalf of a group seeking knowledge and resources. We believe this planet may hold answers to some of our most pressing questions about space travel and manipulation. Lyra's eyes flickered with recognition as she looked at him up and down. She had heard stories of such groups before, ones that sought to unlock the mysteries of the universe using advanced technology and scientific knowledge. Yes, she said, you have a point. And for a moment, there was a silence on this empty planet that seemed to hold the weight of countless secrets. But as Marcus continued to speak, Lyra's expression softened slightly. She realized that these groups often sought answers at great expense, putting their own lives and those around them in danger in the process. We understand, she said softly, and we're willing to work with you on a limited basis, if it means helping us find what we need. Marcus nodded eagerly, his heart racing as he realized that there was hope for this distant planet after all. He knew that their journey would not be easy. They would face numerous challenges and obstacles along the way, but he also felt a sense of determination to see these secrets uncovered. With Lyra's permission in hand, Marcus led them deeper into the ruins of the ancient city, searching for clues and evidence that could help unlock the secrets of space, time manipulation. As they explored, they discovered hidden chambers filled with strange artifacts and technology beyond their wildest dreams, devices that allowed them to manipulate time and like never before. But as they delved deeper into these mysteries, Marcus realized that there was a darker side to this discovery too. The ancient technologies they had stumbled upon were not without consequence. The people of this planet had become obsessed with unlocking the secrets of space, time manipulation, using it for their own gain and at the expense of those who worked around them. As the group began to unravel the dark secrets behind these artifacts, Marcus knew that they could no longer remain on this distant world. They must leave before more harm was done, or risk destroying everything they had come to know about this fascinating universe. With a heavy heart, Marcus led his team back through the ancient doorway and made their way back home, knowing that their journey would not be over yet. But as they stepped into the familiar streets of Earth's atmosphere, he couldn't help but feel a sense of hope for all those who had fought to unlock the secrets of space, time manipulation, and use it for good. And with this knowledge in hand, Marcus knew that his future lay ahead, one filled with endless possibilities and challenges. He would continue to explore the mysteries of the universe using space-time manipulation, pushing the boundaries of what was possible and creating a brighter future for humanity as a whole. As Marcus Chun returned to Earth, his heart heavy with a sense of purpose and determination.